So much in the papers, dominated by, well, it's a great headline in the Mail. Good morning, Chloe Dobbs.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
I've got to hold this up, it's so brilliant. Le Farce. Front and centre, my friends, of the Daily Mail. This is becoming the biggest farce ever, isn't it? Yesterday, a guy who had been sent back to France under the one-in, one-out scheme. I think we've only sent back about 42. We've had 60,000 over in the last 16 months. He's already back. He came back on a dinghy. So it's one out, one in, and one in again. I mean, I mean, the Mail have got it spot on. Le Farce.
Yeah, I mean, it is a total farce, and it's not just now becoming a farce. It's been a farce since the moment that they announced it. This is Starmer's grand policy to combat reform, and I mean, look how it's going. All it's doing is sending more voters to reform. I checked the timeline on this just to see how long this whole thing has taken.
How long has he been away?
So they announced this policy, Starmer and Macron, on the 10th of July, and we were told that it would start within weeks. It then took until the 7th of August, a month later, for us to find out that they are detaining the first people to maybe be deported. And then we had deathly silence for weeks. And then when Yvette Cooper came to Parliament on the first day of Parliament, the 1st of September, she said, maybe this month in September we might send some people, but I'm not too sure about that. Then they tried on the 15th of September to send the first person. First day, didn't manage to send a single person.
Why? Was there no plane or what?
Oh no, they had booked for the whole week dozens of seats on all these Air France flights, hoping to send a load of people. And then, of course, you had lefty lawyers and charities calling up Air France and the Home Office saying you can't do this. And so it got binged. They tried the next day to send someone.
Isn't the truth they had to have bought the ticket anyway? So the seat was bought, so they lost that money.
Not just that seat, they bought dozens of seats on every on the Air France planes that week because they were hoping to send loads of people. On the third day, I think, they managed to send one guy, an Indian guy, back to France. And now, over a month after the start of these deportations, they are boasting that they sent a record number of people on one flight, 16, bringing the total to 42. It was meant to be 50 a week. There should be hundreds of people sent back to France by now. And they're boasting. The Home Office, they put out a graphic on Twitter to boast about how they've sent a record number on one flight, 16 people. I'm like, hello?
It is extraordinary. Bear in mind, Christian made the point just now, which I think is very relevant. We've paid France millions and millions of pounds, and they have absolutely no desire, it seems, to help us out. The Morning Glory Migrant tracker is interesting. Since Keir Starmer became Prime Minister, we're only, I don't mean to sound disrespectful, we're only 29 away from 60,000, OK?
Wow.
60,000. As 2025 arrivals already exceed those for 2024, it would be fair, the Mail's right, it's absolutely falling apart. And what I find so difficult to understand, I don't know where you're on this, but I don't understand how a country that's supposed to be a leader cannot come up with the most basic plan that says you can't come in here and if you are illegal, we're going to deport you. Do you remember the scenario with the post office? Not the post office, the passport office some years ago. It would be three months to even get a passport, but they sorted it out and they trained people. Why are the officials, the border force officials, why are they so awful? Why is it so it was just a disgrace. It's an embarrassment, isn't it?
Well, I mean, speaking of border force, we were told before the general election that Yvette Cooper was going to create this new border force command that was going to be big and strong. They won the election in July last year, and they didn't bother to find somebody to head up the new border force command until the autumn, after they'd all flooded in the summer.
Well,
so don't they pay sense of urgency.
Don't they pay a czar 200 grand or something? I don't even know who he is. I mean, does he exist?
If it is the same guy that they appointed in the autumn, I did look him up on LinkedIn. He's an ex-copper that led
the idea, of course, is that you can't see it.
Enforcement, and he has a load of spelling mistakes in his LinkedIn. So
oh, God.
I can't remember his name, but I remember not being too impressed when I looked him up.
If you're waking up to the home of common sense, the common sense of this government is to employ a border czar who we don't know where he is or what he does, who can't even write English. Let's go back, actually. It was in July. Sir Keir Starmer, our Prime Minister, said, I've got a new scheme. It's one in and one out. Have a watch.
For the very first time, migrants arriving via small boat will be detained and returned to France in short order to break the gang's business model, secure our borders, and get the results that people want to see.
I'm just reading a bit more. I mean, look, all that joy. This story in the Mail says that it was an Iranian man. His second dinghy crossing, if you're waking up this morning thinking this country's on its backside, took place just 29 days after he was kicked out of the country under that flagship policy that you just heard Sir Dreary Starmer talk about. You know, we sit here every day and we go, how bad does this country look internationally? How bad do we appear in almost everything we do? It's another national disgrace, isn't it?
No, I mean, we used to be renowned all around the world. Britain is such a well-known country, and now we're just an embarrassment around the world with some man as leader that's completely fickle and seems like some sort of AI robot without an ounce of personality who can't seem to do anything.
You're not being so disrespectful to Sir Keir Starmer, are you? Yeah, you're right. And I was watching Harry Cole, Saving the West, brilliant, by the way, Monday to Thursday at 10 o'clock. There are now American commentators saying, what the hell's going on with your country?
Yeah, I feel like Americans love Britain far more than we do in this country. It's Americans that are saying, you are an amazing country, sort yourselves out. It is Americans who seemed far more willing to support Britain leaving the European Union than people in this own country were, because they're like, you're an amazing nation, you can survive by yourselves. But meanwhile, all the dreary lefties here were like, no, we can't possibly without being in lockstep to the EU on everything. It's Americans that really seem to love this country and care about the principles that we're meant to care about in this country, like free speech, more, but we seem to have lost ourselves, and I think a lot of Americans are really hoping that we'll find ourselves again. I think
how can you be proud of your country when your Prime Minister's not even proud of being British and doesn't like anything about us? 6:10, by the way, if you're waking up. Love to get you involved this morning. 0344 419 1000, the home of common sense. Graham Pack, good morning. He's the Arnold Schwarzenegger of the migrants. I'll be back. Very good. You need to get out more often. Mark, morning, Jez. The only thing being rung worse in this country now is West Ham. That'll be an Arsenal fan then. Dave, morning, JK. So this guy was sent back. We got one in exchange, now he's back. If we then send him back again, do we have to receive that? Honestly, it's like, and it sounds disrespectful because it just alienates everybody. Let me ask all of you. Let me ask you this, Chloe. Let me ask you this. How does anybody take Keir Starmer seriously? We haven't even started on the grooming gangs today. How does anybody with the brain cell look at this and go, you're leading our country, you can't even add up, you numpty?
Well, I mean, nobody takes him seriously. I mean, look at his approval ratings. They are...
How bad is it, by the way? Worse than mine?
Probably.
Thanks. Is that possible? Go on.
I mean, I think he's got the worst approval ratings of a Prime Minister since record began, if I remember rightly.
Has he?
Yeah,
I mean,
it is absolutely dire, but it's not just the boats, it's literally every single area of policy where they can't seem to get anything right. And that was people's frustration with the Tories, is they felt like nothing was getting done. And a lot of people didn't really mind Labour coming into power because they thought, even if I don't completely agree with all their policies, at least they might do something. And we just haven't seen that in any area of policy. Really.
I still to this day can't believe that this party that must have known for a good 2 years that they were going to be elected, and they talked, didn't they, about hitting the ground running and 100 days, and Sue Gray is sitting in wherever she's sitting, planning the first 100 days. Sue Gray didn't even last the first 100 days. No. And the truth is, the worst thing about this government, in my mind, is that they didn't have a plan, and they're not proactive, they're reactive. Morning to Trevor. And I think what Trevor says this morning on text, 87222, is really true. He says, we all joked about this when the migrant hokey-cokey was announced. We all knew this would happen. It's a farce, Jez. How can we shadow a Russian warship, but we are unable to stop these flipping dinghies in the French Channel? It's true. And he says, I literally find myself ready to pick my family up and move to Trumpland.
Well, look, the reason why one of the main reasons why we can't stop these boats from coming is the ECHR and lefty lawyers. And the reality is that Keir Starmer will never do what it takes. He will never. He is a human rights lawyer himself. The only way that we can actually deport a significant number of people and create a meaningful deterrent is if we either don't stop listening to the ECHR and or leave the ECHR. Starmer will never do that. No. He thinks that international law is sacrosanct, and so I just don't think until if and when we have a reform government in, I don't think anything will happen.
But
because this guy, he's clearly setting himself up for a human rights claim to say in the UK, because if you read the exclusive he's done with The Guardian, he's talking about, you know, all the abuse and torture that he's suffered in France. And he talks...
Sorry, can we just respect the people who are waking up slowly and thinking, I've got to drag my sorry backside to work again, or the kids have kept me up all night, or I don't know, the usual stuff that we all deal with. He's going to find somebody, people, that your taxes are going to represent him, and he's going to find something under a law that shouldn't pertain to our country that will allow him to stay here. He's going to say, oh, did you just say I get abused in France?
So he talks about how the smuggling gangs in France used him as slave labour and were terrifying to work for.
So I don't mean to jump in. Why did he go with them twice then?
Well, exactly.
Because he went once and then he got sent back and he's gone again. If it's that bad, why would you go twice?
So what often happens is if you go to the north of France to get on a dinghy but you don't have the money to pay, you can opt to work for the smuggling gang, so help them sneak boat parts down to the beach, work for them for several months to earn your trip across. So that is presumably what he did. And, of course, gangs and mafia bosses are horrible people to work for, so I'm sure he did have a horrible experience. But now you've been sent by the Home Office to some hotel in France, I doubt you're having that experience, and it probably is a fairly safe place
Would it be fair to say, actually, that you've just alighted on the real issue? You've just said, I bet he's been sent to a hotel in France. He probably hasn't.
He's been in Paris.
Is he not on a tent in a beach somewhere? He's actually in a hotel. Because I will forever believe, and I'm delighted to take your calls. Listen, it's common sense to me, but common sense shouts that if you are making your country so attractive, if you are laying on the line and going, hey, have a hotel, have a card for money, see a dentist, see a doctor, have this, have that. We're not in a position to do that to our own people. That's why people are up in arms about that. I'm convinced the biggest deterrent for this whole thing is to make England, Great Britain, whatever you're allowed to say, less of a pull. It's got to be that.
Well, the thing is leaving the ECHR, as I say, is essential.
Yep.
However, and creating some kind of meaningful deterrent and going ahead with deportations is important. But I think, why don't we just get the basics first? You've got Keir Starmer saying, oh, we'll leave no stone unturned, we're going to try absolutely everything. But then we see what's happening with the hotels. We see all of the benefits that they are getting, or the benefits in kind, and some of them, you know, they've got lovely buffets 3 times a day, they're getting taxi rides everywhere. You can have, you know, what was it, 650 quid on a taxi ride to go to the GP, so you don't have to get on a bus like the rest of us plebs. And
they're laughing at us, you know.
I know, and it is making the people of this country absolutely furious, who see people who have turned up illegally and aren't working and aren't contributing having a better experience than they are.
So it's interesting, because we've got a text. Was this one in, one out and back again illegal migrant paid $2 grand so he wasn't destitute? This is an ITV news report about deported migrants given, ready for this, if you're waking up thinking you're going to have a terrible day, they're given $2 grand bank cards. Have a watch.
We capture compliant migrants being given bank cards preloaded with money, up to £2,000 each, to encourage and aid their resettlement in Romania.
Sometimes I sit here, right, and I think to myself, the great thing about this station is that we actually talk about these issues. I watch the mainstream media and they block people's faces out and all that. Just take that in context. Let's just park this for 1 minute. £2,000 on a bank card. Thank you very much indeed for coming into our country illegally. We're going to send you back. You'll probably be back again in 29 days. We'll forget the people, the indigenous population that are working. We just want to make you feel welcome, and we're really concerned that your human rights could be violated if we don't wipe your backside. What's this country on?
First of all, to clarify, I think those Romanians are people who have come here legally and have either overstayed or committed a crime or something. But still, they absolutely should not be given $2 grand to leave the country. And I think that Keir Starmer thinks that we're stupid when he stands up and says, oh, we're really tackling the migration problem. We've deported 35,000 people who shouldn't be here. When all of us know those are not people who came across on boats. They've only deported, what, 42 people that have come across on small boats. And these are people that you're paying $2 or $3 grand grand to leave the country, and most of the people that they have sent away are the ones who are the least of a threat or sponge to our society. It's like Vietnamese nail workers who have overstayed their visas. They're not really,
Vietnamese nail workers?
Yes, that was of the 35,000 people that were deported. That was one of the groups that you.
I don't know about you.
Saw.
I don't know if you're awake or you're raging or you're on the way to work.
I like the Vietnamese doing my nails. They're not done at the moment.
I don't wish to know about that. Le Farce, on the front of the Mail, love your response to this. I mean, what does it say on the front? Yeah, front of the Sun. Come again. Seriously. Come again, we'll give you £2,000, then you can jump on a plane and disappear. 29 days, go home, give the money to your family and come back. We're a joke, we're a laughing stock. What do you make of this today? The main news story, one in, one out, has reached just the worst moment for Starmer and his deplorable government. A bloke who was given £2,000 to bugger off about 29 days ago as part of the scheme to prove that France, who's had 500 million, aren't taking the mickey, is already back, ladies and gentlemen.
We don't know if he was given £2,000, but the Home Office have been very quiet about the terms of this policy, where they're going to be sent, what conditions they're going to be living in, are they going to be given any cash? Because I think they don't want us to know.
Do you know there was there was a report that the Home Office, the Home Secretary admitted on Wednesday, Shabana, she said, the Home Office has been set up for failure. Throughout my time here at Talk, right, all I ever hear from people is that it doesn't work. It's not fit for purpose. Why wouldn't somebody bloody well change it then to make it fit for purpose? What is wrong with these people? I mean, we seemingly have no politicians who are prepared to grab what I would believe is the biggest issue and shake this system and make it work. Because the British people, they must be listening to this going, what in the name of God am I doing with my life?
Well, I mean, the Home Office is a total shambles, and a lot of people have said for a long time...
But you've just said it. Why don't we make it better? Less of a shambles.
Well, I mean, Dominic Cummings wanted to rip up and sort out the civil service, and he didn't get anywhere. Rachel Reeves said about a year ago, I'm going to have a war on waste in the civil service. And,
she also said, I'm not going to raise taxes, didn't she?
Yeah, exactly. So that was another lie. I mean, maybe reform will be able to strip some of the idiots out of the civil service. But I think one of the problems with the Home Office, I mean, they say with civil servants, so you can't have an opinion, you need to be neutral. But I do think it should be a requirement to work in a Home Office that you actually want people who shouldn't be here to be deported, because I think you've got a lot of activists in the Home Office that see it as their role to try and stop as many deportations
I see
as
a similar. I'm going to make Christian smile. I see when I have this conversation, or people tell me about the Home Office is rammed full of civil servants who we pay for with our taxes, having deep-set activist political views which will lead them to not want to implement the policy of democratically elected MPs. It's a bit like television networks, crammed full of liberals. They have their own ideology and push it on people. It's unbelievable.
The civil service would be far more effective, and we'd only need half of them if they actually
did what they were told.
Well, no, but if they actually started firing people who don't do what they're told and don't work hard enough. The problem with the civil service is you never get fired, ever. It doesn't matter how bad you mess up, you will stay there forever and you will move up the ladder and get promotion after promotion. It's not the real world. It's not nice pension.
It's not the real world, though,
it's not the private sector.
No, in the private sector.
But if they simply, that we're talking about, as I said, Rachel Reeves wants to have a war on waste. We need to cut wherever we can, because Rachel Reeves is desperately trying to find any money where she can. We could massively improve the efficiency and reduce the number of people in the civil service if we just started firing a few people who aren't good at their jobs. It's basic. It's basic. And they're not doing it.
We're now a couple, Jezza and Chloe. Andy from Mansfield. Don't forget that in 2003, a number of illegal immigrants took the government to court to get those cash benefits. And hello and good morning to Sarah, says Jezza. Don't forget the 1.8 million immigrants now on welfare, and the 20% of new cars in the UK are being bought for people on welfare. I think we'll go to a break.